Content warning. The following video contains material that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Got you looking in the shadows, see it creep. We are the shadow, I should way too deep. Your face on loose, Hitlist seal. We're facing real meal, justice calling with a range of sound. We're real and the mercy, murder sound. Ain't mercy, see ya, shovel, burning in that fire. Leave the kids alone, buried in the mire. Lock you up forever, pay for your sin. Wood chip awaits, this is the end you'll spin. Your lives unraveled, under our gaze, rather than caught off a wicked maze. Your burdens unclear, society draped in a truly fear. Religious fear back, friends and walls closes my fade to black. See ya, shovel, burning in that fire. Leave the kids alone, buried in the mire. Lock you up forever, pay for your sin. Wood chip awaits, this is the end you'll spin. You won't ever escape. Justice like thunder, sealing your fate. Oh, warning to all our children, you'll not touch. Your downfall is here, it's the final touch. See ya, shovel, burning in that fire. Leave the kids alone, buried in the mire. Lock you up forever, pay for your sin. Wood chip awaits, this is the end you'll spin.
Just when you thought you could turn your back and walk away, the dark cloud of human indignity follows you. You have no choice but to turn and look it in the eye. It's the sex offender hit list.
Big Flats man was indicted yesterday after police say he had child sex abuse material back in 2024. According to information from the Chemung County District Attorney's Office, 36-year-old Justin Lane was arrested last month on 4 felony counts of promoting a sexual performance by a child and 4 felony counts of possessing a sexual performance of a child. The indictment says that Lane knowingly had material depicting sexual contact by children less than 16 and 17 years old. According to the DA's office, he was released from custody after his processing and indictment.
Austin police believe a man arrested for crimes against children in Travis and Hayes counties could have more victims. 20-year-old Keyshawn French Burton is charged with multiple felonies. Police say he used multiple social media accounts to contact underage victims, often misrepresenting his age.
Information gathered in our investigations suggests that Mr. French Burton contacted other underage children via social media outlets with the intent to engage in sexual activity. Given this information, we believe there may be additional survivors who may have been assaulted by Mr. French Burton.
Well, anyone with information is asked to call APD's child abuse tip line. That number is at the bottom of your screen there, 512-974-6880.
An Amherst man has pleaded guilty in federal court for distributing child sexual abuse materials. The investigation determined that 26-year-old Bradley Driscoll knowingly distributed materials in August of 2022. Investigators also caught him engaging in an online chat conversation with an undercover agent. He also sent a link to agents with more than 300 files containing child pornography. His sentencing will be imposed by a federal district court judge.
We start with News 12 sources confirming a 9th arrest in connection with the missing 14-year-old from Patchogue who was found on that boat.
Yeah, sources telling us that Deshawn McLean is accused of having sexual contact with the teen on January 9th and 23rd at the children's mental health facility that she was staying at in Suffolk County after she was found. Now, McLean is an employee at that facility. He was arraigned for 2 counts of sexual abuse and endangering the welfare of a child, according to court documents. Now, those documents also revealed that 42-year-old McClain was arrested after a review of surveillance video of the incident.
And court documents show McClain pleaded not guilty. We reached out to his attorney, but have not yet heard back.
3 men are behind bars this morning in Union County, charged in child sexual exploitation case. An investigation led to the arrest of Timothy Barnett, Brian Bass, and Michael Davis. Authorities say they were all found to have child pornography. All men facing bonds of at least $100,000.
603, a former officer at an Arkansas university, was placed on administrative leave after being arrested and charged with possession of child pornography.
Public safety officer Marty Duvall worked for Arkansas Tech University. The university says he was suspended and placed on leave pending the outcome of the investigation.
Police department accusing a man of having a child pornography material in his home office. Officers arrested Elijah McCutcheon this morning after a joint investigation with the Florence Police Department and the South Carolina Attorney General's office. He is charged with multiple counts of sexual exploitation of a minor, along with sending and receiving materials.
7-year-old Joshua Wamoff will spend the next 3 years behind bars after admitting to offering a teen girl money if he let her see her naked in July of 2024. Winnebago County deputies say Wamoff offered to pay the girl several times from February to July of that year. Wamoff was convicted of a sexual assault in December of 2008 and will be under supervision when he finishes his sentence.
And meanwhile, tonight, we are also learning more about a Bartlett man accused of raping a child. Sadly, prosecutors say the alleged victim was no older than 13 years old. WREG's Kwamitra Wilburn was in the courtroom today as the suspect stood before a judge for the very first time.
The defendant, John Miller, appeared before a judge this morning. He was indicted by a grand jury for the charge of rape of a child. The incident dates back to 2006.
Judge, at this time, will waive formal reading the indictment and enter a plea of not guilty.
With family sitting just rows behind, 48-year-old John Miller appears before Judge Jennifer Fitzgerald. According to his indictment, between June 20th, 2006 and December 31st, 2007, Miller allegedly raped a child between the ages of 3 and 13 years old. Miller would have been around 30 years old at the time. The case was presented to a grand jury last month. His bond was set at $200,000, but his attorney asked the court for a bond review hearing, citing Miller's health issues.
It's causing some issues with his health care in the jail. But I'm asking if Your Honor would at least consider setting an earlier date so that we can at least attempt to get Mr. Miller out in time for his surgery if he needs it.
A source close to the situation who wishes to remain anonymous tells your news leader that Miller used to work around children. His attorney, Chris Whitten, declined to comment on the charges against his client, but told the judge, to his knowledge, Miller does not have a criminal record.
It's my understanding that Mr. Miller has never been arrested and has no charges anywhere else.
Reporting for your news leader, Kwamitra Wilburn, WREG News, Channel 3.
And just a short time ago, we learned Miller worked as a volunteer at Hope Church here in Memphis. The church says the alleged incident did not happen on church property. In a statement, the church says, "We take the safety of all congregants with the utmost priority and know that all of the protocols and background checks were complete and satisfactory." The ministry leaders where Miller served have been in the midst of these discussions to ensure that there were no possibilities of any issues with anyone at Hope, and we are confident that standards have been consistently met. We are praying for all of those involved.
On Monday, Brandon police got a call from Canada's Child Exploitation Unit saying that children in the city were in danger. Police Chief Tyler Bates says that night they executed a warrant arresting a 37-year-old man for producing, distributing, and accessing child pornography across the world.
Because of the gravity and the seriousness and the victimization of these kids, they needed to be rescued as soon as possible.
The man was taken into police custody. His common law partner and 6 foster children were also in the home. Police say the children were taken into CFS care to keep them safe. Police say the couple was operating a home daycare at their residence. A computer and other electronic devices were seized. The children's parents were notified by police and Child Family Services.
you can imagine the horror and the shock of the parents that learn of criminal instances of this magnitude at that residence, and how concerning that would be.
After his arrest, in a review of the devices, more charges were laid on Wednesday, connected to a June incident where child pornography images were uploaded, stored, and distributed. Police believe there are likely more victims.
My heart goes out to the families, to the parents that have had to deal with this horrific reality, to the kids that are ever impacted by this victimization.
Brandon police say they're not releasing the man's name right now to protect the identities of the victims and their families. It's working with Child and Family Services and investigators from Toba Center for Children and Youth to provide support for the children and their families. The case will be heard in court next on February 18th. Chelsea Kemp, CBC News, Brandon.
Houston man pardoned by President Donald Trump for his involvement in the January 6th insurrection has been arrested on a child sex charge. According to the Harris County District Attorney's Office, Andrew Take was arrested Thursday morning in Leon County. He was charged back in 2016 for online solicitation of a minor. Take was serving 6 years in prison for assaulting Capitol police officers during the protest. The DA's office asked federal authorities to keep him in custody, but he was released after President Trump issued pardons for people charged in the January 6th riot.
Child sexual abuse are found in a Panola County house. Deputies worked with Louisiana State Police to make an arrest. According to the sheriff's office, back in January, Louisiana officials alerted them about a child pornography case involving a man in Panola County. This week, deputies and Bossier Parish investigators executed a search warrant at a house on County Road 3342 off Highway 79 near the Louisiana state line. Deputies found several electronic devices containing hundreds of images of child sexual abuse. Sean Clay has been arrested and taken to the Panola County Jail. He faces 1 count of possession or promotion of child pornography.
In Franklin County, a man is facing felony charges related to child pornography. Once the sheriff's office received a tip regarding possession and production of child pornography, deputies started an investigation and a search. That's what led them to 43-year-old Luis Cerrone's arrest. He is facing multiple charges, including 1 felony count of producing and manufacturing child pornography. Cerrone is being held without bond.
A Sioux Falls man is heading to prison after pleading guilty to sex crimes. Court documents say 55-year-old Len Hamelvig attempted to make child pornography by secretly shooting video under a bathroom door. Hamelvig was sentenced to 15 years behind bars, followed by 5 years of supervision.
Well, deputies arrested a now former North Edgecombe High School teacher after investigating a tip about an inappropriate relationship with a student. Kirby Cooper was arrested today and charged with sexual activity with a student. Edgecombe County Public Schools confirmed Cooper was a physical education teacher, but is no longer employed by the district.
A man is behind bars tonight accused of sexually assaulting children at an indoor play center. This happened in late December at Jungle Playland in Mount Vernon. The Skagit County prosecutor says Rigoberto Chavez Mendoza is facing a number of charges, including child molestation and assault with sexual motivation. The business addressed the incident saying this, that the suspect entered with a family and blended in like he was with them. They went on to say that once we were made aware that there was a problem, the manager immediately went into the structure and got him out. That suspect was arrested at the scene. He's currently being held on $250,000 bail.
Over in Gregg County, a Georgia man is behind bars today accused of committing horrific child sex crimes. On your screen is 48-year-old Tremaine Jamar White of College Park, Georgia. He was recently booked into the Gregg County Jail on charges of possession of child pornography, aggravated kidnapping, and trafficking a child or disabled individual to engage in sexual conduct. This is a developing story. We'll update you on air and online as we learn more.
Developing news right now, deputies with the Dorchester County Sheriff's Office arrested a man on charges connected to sexual exploitation of minors. The agency, in connection with the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, arrested Richard Vincent Willis Jr. on 19 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor in the 3rd degree. Deputies say this is a felony offense punishable by up to 19 years in prison on each count. And we've learned this case will be prosecuted by the state attorney general's office.
Portland police arrest an alleged child sex offender who is believed to be in this country illegally.
News 2's Andy Cordan obtained body camera video of the man's arrest in the story you're seeing first on 2.
In the last week, Portland police have arrested a Guatemalan national who's now in jail charged with sex crimes against a child. So, first of all, the young girl is a hero for coming forward in some capacity.
Absolutely. She was brave enough to come forward and tell her story, what happened, and this happened more than once. Here, please.
This is video from January 23rd as Portland police arrest Elias Chick. According to authorities, the 30-year-old sexually molested a 10-year-old girl multiple times.
Allegedly, he offered her $5 to keep her mouth shut or else.
According to investigators, the Guatemalan national is here in the country illegally. How he got here and what his relationship to the child's family is still unclear.
The further investigation revealed that the defendant was working at a factory, we're not exactly sure which.
According to investigators, when he was arrested, the accused sex offender had fake IDs and social security cards from California and Texas.
We got into his phone and found all kinds of evidence of identity theft, trafficking, things like that, and other crimes are way, way worse, so that's being investigated.
According to police, the 30-year-old also had many disturbing images on his phone to be an execution-style murder. From this jurisdiction or elsewhere?
We don't know. We're still investigating that, trying to figure out where that occurred.
Is that unsettling to you, Chief?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We don't believe it happened here, but we'll figure it out.
Immigration's a big deal now. Do you see a change in ICE at all?
Yeah, no, they've kicked it in high gear. If we have those that are here illegally, that are committing crimes, that's their priority, and to pluck them out of our communities and send them back where they need to go after, of course, they face justice here.
The suspect's currently in the Sumner County Jail. I'm told that there is an ICE detainer on that individual as the investigation continues. In Portland, Andy Cordan, News 2.
And that suspect is charged with 2 counts of aggravated sexual battery and 1 count of attempted aggravated sexual battery. His bond is $300,000.
After a former Dartmouth police officer was convicted by a unanimous jury for child rape charges and sentenced to a minimum of 10 years, the judge has set aside the verdict and let the defendant go free. Back in October, Sean Souza was sentenced to serve 10 to 15 years in a Mass state prison. The jury found him guilty of 2 counts of aggravated rape of a child, 1 count of rape of a child by force, and 1 count of indecent assault and battery of a person 14 or older. One of the victims was as young as 5 years old at the time. But according to the office of the Bristol County District Attorney Thomas Quinn, after sentencing, the defendant raised an objection and the judge set aside the verdict and ordered a new trial. Prosecutors asked her to reconsider and she refused, saying the defendant could be released. District Attorney Thomas Quinn is appealing the decision and said in a statement in part, quote, "I have never seen a judge deliberately nullify a unanimous jury verdict without giving the district attorney's office the right to a full hearing. The court's decision undermines the jury system and people's confidence that justice is being done. We're going to be following up on the judge's decision for a new trial, including working to get reaction from the defendant's team."
For a Pigeon Forge man is now in jail. He's accused of raping a child. A grand jury indicted Dwight Suttles this week for rape of a child and aggravated sexual battery. Pigeon Forge police say someone filed a complaint last September against him.
According to court documents, he raped a child who was younger than the age of 13 between 2017 and 2023. He's now facing 6 charges.
Also new at 10, a Montgomery County church volunteers accused of molesting a young parishioner. We sent ABC 13's Luke Jones to the Breath of Life Church near the Woodlands, and he got a text from the suspect's phone.
These allegations absolutely stomach-churning. A grown man accused of sexually abusing a young girl, and the DA's office says she wasn't even 14. Now, the church says none of this happened here at the church, but the victim was a church member and the suspect a church volunteer. A basketball hoop and children's bicycles outside Shauna Bailey's Montgomery County home. And kids were just as much a part of his life as a volunteer at Breath of Life Church. One of those kids, he's now accused of sexually abusing. The Montgomery County Precinct 3 Constable's Office says it began looking into this January 4th. A pastor at the church telling us it was he who reported it to them as soon as he learned about the allegations. This was the hardest thing I've had to do, he says. Investigators say the victim was interviewed and confirmed the abuse. Last Thursday, detectives searched Aveli's home and arrested him. Aveli vehemently denying the allegations tonight. In a statement, his family says, "We ask for your prayers to help get us through the most difficult time. We had no idea that because a 7-year-old child makes an uncorroborated allegation that our world would be turned upside down." The constable's office initially described Aveli as a church employee, but the church says that's not true, and it's an all-volunteer operation. In a video posted on the church's Facebook page, Aveli spoke about his role.
I am in charge of missions and outreach and also in charge of the worship team.
But not anymore. Stripped of his church responsibilities, he's now out of jail on a $100,000 bond, but facing a serious charge of aggravated sexual assault of a child. His pastor tells us he's praying for justice. In Oak Ridge North, Luke Jones, ABC 13, Eyewitness News.
According to court documents, investigators received 2 tips showing Mike Pentia was uploading sexual photos of children as young as 3 years old. First report, 2023. The second, December of last year. He was allegedly uploading the photos to a search engine to find similar pornographic content. Investigators searched his home. They found 10 similar files on his computer. He's charged with knowingly possessing files of sexual performance by a child. Investigators say Mike Pentia has worked primarily at middle schools in the Palm Beach County School District for the past 28 years. WPBF 25 News reached out to the school district for comment. They told us the teacher was immediately fired from the district upon his arrest. They say charges are unrelated to district schools.
Ferguson police are searching for as many as 10 possible victims in a child sex trafficking case. A report of a missing teenager led to the arrest of one suspect. And Fox News' Chad Mira joins us live now from Ferguson. And Chad, has that missing teenager been found?
Police found that missing teenager, and they also found another teenager who was reported missing out of St. Louis about a year ago. And police say the man that they were with is now in custody. 2 missing teens are found alive, believed to be the victims of child sex trafficking. The investigation began early Monday morning when Ferguson police got a call about a missing teen.
We also, at that house, found a letter from the juvenile giving away all her belongings, clothes, everything, to her other siblings.
But they say what they found was not your typical missing persons case.
So we really took this serious, that she had a way, she had the means to get away, and he told her exactly what to bring. We were in fear that she might fly.
After tracking the 15-year-old's phone, they found her at an apartment on Pershing just north of Forest Park. Police say she was there with another teenage girl out of St. Louis who was reported missing a year ago. Court documents allege they were there with 29-year-old Karan Williams, who at times was offering them money for sex. When the victim was 14. And police fear there could be more victims. Police say as they investigated more, they learned there have been a lot of young girls going in and out of that same apartment out here on Pershing. Williams is in custody on multiple counts of sex trafficking of a child and statutory rape. Police say there could be another 10 victims. The 2 that they have found know each other.
And in their minds, they thought if they get killed or kidnapped or tortured, they're not going to be by themselves.
Police are following leads on more potential suspects, too. Police say one big takeaway is to make sure you know who your kids are talking to on all their different devices. They also ask that if you know of any more potential victims, to reach out and give them a call. Reporting in Ferguson, Chad Mira, Fox 2 News.
Tonight on the 10 o'clock news, a man is behind bars accused of having sex with a minor and using a computer to entice a minor for sex. 49-year-old Carl Eubanks was taken into custody at his home. His arrest comes 2 weeks after he was arrested in Nassau County during an online sex sting operation that targeted men who used a dating app to lure teenage boys for sex.
News4JAX reporter Eric Avenay is here in studio with more on this app that, Eric, authorities say parents need to know about.
Well, the app is called Sniffies. It's a dating app for gay and bisexual men that use a map to show them where they can connect with other men. Now, according to law enforcement, this app is easily accessible to minors. Law enforcement also say men are using this app to try and hook up with teenage boys. 49-year-old Carl Eubanks has been identified as a suspect in 2 separate criminal investigations involving the sexual exploitation of minors. One in Clay County, the other is in Nassau County. Investigators say Eubanks recently drove an hour from Clay County to a location in Nassau County to have sex with what he thought was a 14-year-old boy he met on the Sniffies dating app. Instead, it was an undercover Nassau County detective. According to this arrest report, he told the detective he previously had contact with minors on that app. I had never heard of the Sniffies app until I started researching the 2 criminal cases against Eubanks. So I pulled the app up on my phone and was shocked to learn how easy it is for a minor to lie about their age and begin communicating with total strangers. An undercover Clay County Sheriff's Office cyber sex crimes detective we will identify as Ryan says parents should know many apps can be dangerous to kids, especially apps that do little to verify a user's age.
Unfortunately, children can lie about their age and give an age where they're able to access that application. It's extremely concerning.
Concerning because in recent months, the Clay County Cyber Sex Crimes Unit has investigated several cases of men attempting to lure minors through the Sniffies app. He says the app makes it easy for predators to locate minors who are utilizing the app.
One of the first features that you see when you access the app or you browse it on the web is something called Cruise Now, where you can literally go on and look at other people in your area, on your street, or in your community, and those locations are actually broadcasted.
Ryan says so many dating and social media apps are being created that it's hard for law enforcement to keep tabs on which ones are being used by predators to go after minors.
Sometimes we don't even know about applications till maybe an investigation or report comes across our desk. You know, if you went on the App Store right now and searched, social media applications, I think the majority of people would probably find that probably a large percentage of those applications some people have never even heard of. Unfortunately, children, because of their high activity online, oftentimes come across these even before the parents even realize what they are.
This is why parents are urged to check their children's cell phone and have conversations with their children about the dangers of certain apps they download. Now, that undercover detective I spoke with says within the past several months, his unit has arrested multiple people suspected of attempting to lure minors on the Sniffies app. Live in the studio, Eric Avenay, Channel 4, the local station.
Some new details this afternoon in the case of a massage therapist who was the subject of a KCRA 3 investigation last year.
He's still facing charges for sexually assaulting 3 of his clients. KCRA 3 investigates Lizay Mitri reveals he now has a series of new charges, this time for the sexual abuse of a child. So Lizay, what have you learned?
Andrea, Lisa, Kyle Blowers was out of jail awaiting trial on that first case until 2 weeks ago when he was arrested again. KCRA Investigates first told you about Blowers back in July. He's charged with 16 felonies involving the sexual battery of some of his clients at Massage Heights in Roseville in 2023. On top of that criminal case, there was also a civil lawsuit over those allegations in Placer County. And now KCRA 3 Investigates has learned Yuba County Sheriff's deputies arrested Blowers at his Olivehurst home. A criminal complaint charges him with 3 counts, including the continuous sexual abuse of a child between 2020 and 2024, noting the last time he's accused of abusing the child was during Christmas break. Blowers pleaded not guilty at his first court appearance and asked to be released from jail, but a judge denied that motion, and court documents show he's still behind bars with no bail. Back to you.
All right, Blowers' next court hearing is scheduled for tomorrow morning in Yuba County, and we, of course, will follow that for you.
From the Target 12 investigators, the Rhode Island Civil Air Patrol says it has suspended its director of cadet programs. This after Rhode Island State Police announced the 69-year-old was arrested for possession of child pornography this week. Target 12 investigator Alexandra Leslie joins us now in studio with what she's learned.
Rhode Island State Police say members of its Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force arrested Robert Giannopoulos on Thursday. A search warrant obtained by Target 12 shows police seized various electronic devices from his Pawtucket apartment. Rhode Island State Police say the director of cadet programs of the Rhode Island Civil Air Patrol, Robert Giannopoulos, is now facing a charge of possession of child pornography. Investigators say currently there is no evidence of inappropriate involvement with the cadets, who range from 12 to 18 years old. In light of the allegations, a spokesperson for Rhode Island Civil Air Patrol says Giannopoulos was immediately suspended following standard procedures while state police investigate, and that, quote, should that information change, Civil Air Patrol will cooperate fully with the authorities and is committed to ensuring transparency throughout the process. Giannopoulos has been a member of the Civil Air Patrol since June 1994. A spokesperson did not respond to our inquiry asking how long he has served in the volunteer unpaid position with the cadets program. According to an affidavit obtained by Target 12, state police received 2 cyber tips from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children about a subject possessing child pornography in January. Security personnel at Yahoo told the nonprofit that on January 21st, a Yahoo account holder emailed one video of suspected child pornography to a Gmail account holder, which they later tied to Giannopoulos. State police requested records from Google dating back as far as July of last year and said Google's response revealed over 200 video files and numerous image files of child pornography. Thursday, state police arrested Giannopoulos and conducted a search warrant of his apartment and seized 1 cell phone, 2 USBs, 1 tablet, and 2 laptops. State police say Giannopoulos was identified as the owner of the digital media and accounts associated with the explicit files. He did not enter a plea in Providence District Court, a standard when charged with a felony. Giannopoulos was released on surety bail with conditions he not have contact with minors or use the internet, smartphone, or computer. State police say anyone with pertinent information about Giannopoulos is asked to give them a call. We have more information on WPRI.com. With the Target 12 investigators, Alexandra Leslie, 12 News.
Helping out of Preble County tonight, a teacher is now facing charges accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a student. 31-year-old Garrett Stringer Smith of Inglewood is facing sexual battery charges right now. So investigators say that he was having a sexual relationship with a student back in October when she was just 17. Stringer Smith is in the Preble County Jail right now, awaiting arraignment.
Developing this evening, month. A 22-year-old was arrested accused of possessing child pornography. Jesus Rodriguez was taken into custody Friday by Holly Hill police. Investigators claim they found numerous photos and videos of child porn in his home. Right now, he faces 7 felony counts and is being held on a $125,000 bond.
Also in our court coverage tonight, a plea deal was reached with a man first charged with repeated sexual assault of a child. Billy Pettit, who now lives in Oklahoma, was charged in 2023. The victim told police Pettit assaulted her in the early 90s at a home near Fall Creek. She said he sexually assaulted her when she was a preteen, often when he thought she was asleep. Today in court, he pleaded no contest to an amended charge of exposing genitals to a child. That is a misdemeanor. He was sentenced to 219 days in jail and given credit for the 219 days he has already spent in jail.
In Spartanburg County, deputies say a firefighter stands accused of child abuse. They say Timothy Cash was arrested at the Mayo Area Fire Station on Thursday afternoon. He is charged with unlawful conduct toward a child. Deputies say the abuse happened at the fire department. According to the Mayo Area Fire District, Cash is the part-time assistant fire chief. He has been placed on administrative leave.
SLED has charged an Aiken County man with criminal sexual conduct with a minor. Officials say 34-year-old Terry Haggerty was booked into the Aiken County Detention Center. He's charged with criminal sexual conduct with a minor, 2nd and 3rd degree.
A federal jury convicted a truck driver of picking up a young woman in Dallas and then dumping her dead body in the woods of East Texas. Good evening, I'm Steve Eager. 28-year-old Nassan Hazard will likely spend the rest of his life behind bars for that killing. His victim, a young 25-year-old Army veteran whose loved ones say was also the victim of sex trafficking. Fox 4's David Santandri has new details on this case tonight. David?
Yeah, Steve, the victim was a new mother. She had a baby boy. She lived in California and told her family she was going to head out of town for a while to visit the child's father's family, but she never returned. So her family contacted law enforcement and they ended up tracking her license plate here in Dallas and later found her body.
There are violent Johns out there.
A truck driver from Austin, 28-year-old Nassan Hazard, is now convicted of kidnapping and killing a 25-year-old sex worker who he picked up at a Northwest Dallas parking lot last August. Her body was dumped 120 miles away.
Like she was just discarded as if she was trash.
Amanda Pettit, executive director of Rescue Hill, a nonprofit providing resources to human trafficking victims, says the pickup began in Dallas's Blade, a slang term referring to a street where prostitution is common.
That was in the Harry Hines area, and that's considered our Blade.
The woman, Kalia Zangari, was from San Diego, California. Her family tells Fox 4 she spent time in the Army. Somewhere down the line, she became a sex trafficking victim.
You pass them by every single day, and you don't realize the situation that they themselves are in.
The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Texas says Zangari had online sex ads posted in Dallas from August 9th through 15th. Hazard exchanged more than a dozen messages with her. On August 15th, surveillance video shows Zangari getting into Hazard's truck.
He picked her up, and there's never video of him dropping her off again. And her car was still in the parking lot as if she was coming back to the car.
Belongings left in her vehicle at the parking lot were later found by investigators. Cell data shows Hazard's phone and Zangari's phone pinged in the same areas at the same time until her phone was turned off. Investigators found it on the side of LBJ Freeway. Hazard's phone was tracked to Pittsburgh, Texas, where Zangari's remains were found. Investigators say bleach stains on Hazard's pants were from Hazard trying to clean evidence.
These women are not trash. These women are human.
Pettit says, unfortunately, it's all too common for sex trafficking victims to also become victims of violence.
But never, ever, ever one time have I worked with a woman who said she didn't get beat.
The Department of Justice did not reveal exactly how she passed away. Now, that sentence, the conviction, it carries an automatic life sentence, but the official sentencing has not yet taken place. We'll keep you updated when it does, but for now, Steve, we'll send it back to you.
A cyber tip led to the arrest of a Kennesaw man for sexual exploitation of a child and drug and weapons charges. When Kennesaw police searched the home of 33-year-old Odell Shane Phillips, they said they discovered a large amount of marijuana, some of it in jars with labels indicating different strains of marijuana, THC wax, and numerous checks. There were also weapons in the home. Police say Phillips also had images and videos of child sexual abuse.
Crimes like these they destroy the innocence of children, and our detectives and all of our officers take these very seriously, and we'll do everything we can to do the best case possible and prosecute these where these individuals cannot seek and harm individuals.
Phillips is being held in the Cobb County Jail tonight without bond.
Is there anything you'd like to say for yourself? Say it again. Did you do something wrong?
Our top story tonight, a former East Texas pastor is now behind bars tonight accused of sexually assaulting a child. The Wood County Sheriff's Office says Timothy Nall, a former pastor at a Mineola church, had a warrant out for his arrest. Back in 2023, Nall was also arrested on charges of indecency with a child, and just earlier this month, I spoke to the victim's family about the lack of progress in the case against Nall. They tell me they are relieved he was arrested.
A UNH student is arrested accused of having child sex abuse images. This is on the Durham campus. Police say they had been investigating for months and identified Mohammed Abu-Ghosh as the suspect. He's being held at the Stratford County Jail, waiting for a bail hearing.
Also right now, a man wanted for the aggravated sexual assault of a child is recovering after being shot by police and bitten by a police dog.
Authorities say 32-year-old Robert Johnson was on the run from the Dallas area after cutting off his ankle monitor. The officer-involved shooting happened in the Clear Lake area this morning. Katira Winfrey live where the Gulf Coast Task Force tracked him down. Katira.
Guys, we're 6 hours in, and it now looks like the scene is finally starting to wind down. Just a few moments ago, officers started to take down the crime scene tape. But take a look at this window. Authorities say deputies shot through the window, hitting Johnson inside. This shattered window tells part of the story of a Gulf Coast Task Force takedown. After months on the run, authorities say they tracked down 32-year-old Robert Johnson. He's accused of aggravated sexual assault of a 12-year-old girl near Dallas back in July.
Just remember what I told you, what his charges were. So we can't have it.
Authorities say while working as an Uber driver, he picked up the girl from a medical facility. But instead of taking her home, he's accused of sexually assaulting her.
There is evil in this world, and there are predators.
T. Michael O'Connor with the U.S. Marshal says East Texas law enforcement tipped off the Gulf Coast Task Force about him being spotted in the area. They found him inside, sitting at a table at this fast food restaurant.
What if there had been a little 2-year-old toddler in there with their parent, or just anybody, the workers, their safety, everyone's always in danger.
Officials say he didn't comply with their orders.
The individual then raised an object in the direction of the officer that were inside, and the officers from the outside saw that this was a threat to those inside, and they fired upon the individual.
A canine brought to the scene completed the takedown. No officers or employees were hurt. One person was in the restroom during the incident but was helped safely out of the building.
This is relatively doesn't happen all the time here, and that's really scary.
And authorities say Johnson's injuries are not life-threatening. It's not clear when he'll be extradited back to Collin County and what additional charges he may face once he gets there. Reporting live in Clear Lake, Katira Winfrey, KHOU 11 News.
Wild scene there, Katira. Thank you so much.
New details in a case over a decade old. A Texas woman accused of sexual crimes now designated as the first sexually violent predator in the state as a woman. Fox SA's Ethan Trejo reports.
She's been in prison since August of 2011, and quite frankly, should remain in prison the entire time that she is on Earth.
Desiree Ham pleaded guilty to 13 charges in August 2011, including multiple sexual crimes with teen girls. Comal County District Attorney Jennifer Tharp described Ham's case as unique and dangerous after her emotional and psychological abuse of 2 Comal girls that experts described as brainwashing through role-playing games. One forensic scientist during the case described the behavior as cult-like. Alexis Baker with Breakaway Therapy works with victims of cult survivors. She described practices of cult leaders similar to the tactics used by Ham on her victims.
Keeping the victim isolated from their friends, from their family, from people who might connect them to that pre-relationship self.
In 2023, Ham was eligible for parole. That's where the Special Prosecution Unit stepped in, moving to classify Ham as a threat now and into the future.
We receive between 50 and 70 of these cases a year. All of them have to have 2 sexually violent offenses. And I will note Ms. Ham has well above 2.
On Thursday, the jury found Ham did qualify to be designated the first female sexually violent predator in the state of Texas.
When she is finally released from TDCJ, she will release directly into the custody of the Texas Civil Commitment Office. They are required to treat and supervise her.
After Ham's sentence, she will be transferred to Littlefield, Texas to be monitored and receive treatment with the intent of rehabilitation.
I will say for Ms. Ham, I would expect that to take a very, very long time.
Ethan Trejo, Fox SA.
And from Nederland will stay behind bars for the rest of his life after an appeals court denied his request for a new trial. Peyton Smith was sentenced to 99 years in prison back in May for sexually assaulting a young child. He claimed his attorney was ineffective for not asking the jury to ignore certain evidence. The appeals court ruled that there was no issue with how the evidence was obtained or presented. and his attorney did nothing wrong. Because the victim was under the age of 6, Smith will serve his sentence without the possibility of parole.
A Walker County man is back in Alabama tonight behind bars after being arrested in Florida this week. The Walker County Sheriff's Office says they've been trying to serve a warrant to Peter Brinley from Townley since last year, but they couldn't find him. That is until they found out he fled to Brevard County, Florida. He was taken into custody there this week by U.S. Marshals. Brinley now facing charges for rape, sexual abuse of a child, and sodomy.
Well, the man you see right here on your screen, 54-year-old Richard Willis Jr., facing 19 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor after authorities say they found him with child sexual abuse material. The South Carolina Attorney General's office says investigators got a tip from the National Center for the Missing and Exploited Children about Willis. He was arrested yesterday and booked into the Dorchester County Detention Center. He was granted a bond of $28,000.
A Valdosta man wanted for felony rape was arrested in Los Angeles, California this week. Valdosta police confirmed that 52-year-old Manuel Gomez was arrested on other charges as well, including aggravated child molestation, sexual battery of a child under 16, and first-degree cruelty to children. Gomez has been wanted since January 3rd, and Valdosta detectives worked with the Los Angeles Police Department to arrest him. According to Valdosta police, they are working with federal agents in reference to this, quote, his illegal immigration status. Now, we're told he's currently awaiting transport back to Valdosta.
Let me out of here! Let me out of here!
One for a rainbow, one for Amanda.
Who you playing with, sweetie?
Amanda.
Oh, who are you?
I'm Amanda. I'm 6, and I love unicorns.
Sexual predators are seeking kids online.
We don't know Amanda.
Learn how to report abuse at end-violence.org/protect.